There's one main reason why you're not improving at art. Assuming you're already practicing the fundamentals such as gesture, being able to quickly capture the figure and its rhythm and its movement. Assuming you're practicing perspective, you can intuitively see perspective grids, you can identify where the horizon line might be, and being able to capture that on paper, just seeing basic forms and volumes, putting those in the perspective grids. You're already practicing simplifying complex subjects into those forms and volumes. The number one reason why you're not improving is you're not being consistent. Life is busy, we have other priorities, maybe we're spread too thin with a job, with our families, whatever the reason is, we're just not being consistent. I'm gonna give you 3 tips on how to be consistent and just build that daily habit. So, number 1, you gotta be able to think ahead. I typically like to plan ahead at least a day in advance, and I just like to strategize and think when I can squeeze in maybe 15 minutes to just practice drawing. So if I'm traveling or I'm just on the move or my schedule is really hectic and chaotic, I just try to think, okay, when can I realistically fit in 15 minutes to practice? And that's really all you need. You only need 15 minutes so you can keep that momentum going. Obviously, the more time, the better, but if you can only fit in 15 minutes, you're gonna wanna do that and just keep the momentum going, like I said. Number 2, when you finally do sit down and practice, you should already have a plan. So maybe, for example, it's practicing the fundamentals like I mentioned at the beginning of this video. Let me know if you want me to make a more in-depth video going over exercises you could do for each one of those fundamentals. But when you finally do get to practice and sit down to focus on improvement, you should have a plan of what you want to do. So if it's a project you're working on, just put in 15 minutes, like I said, at minimum, to work on that. If you're practicing the fundamentals, you should have some exercises that you should default back to. The third, and probably my biggest point, would just be to allow yourself to break away from a rigid plan. Sometimes when you're really focused on finding the most efficient way to improve and you have so much time in the day, so you do want to be efficient and make sure you're getting the most out of your practice sessions, stuff to work on different subjects that are fun and new to you, then ultimately that'll just kind of discourage you from even wanting to set aside time because it becomes more of a chore. So I just got back from Japan, and when I went to Japan, I wanted to try out some watercolor. I saw Bryce Coe doing some watercolor pieces, and I wanted to incorporate that in some of my sketchings when I went to Japan. When I was working on those pieces and I finished some of those, it just brought back a level of excitement that allowed me to have even more momentum moving forward, and it just opens up my mind to more creative outlets, different things. So please just try to not be so rigid and work on subjects that you like. So if you like working on landscape pieces, or you just want to try out painting, if you want to try digital, if you want to try animation, you want to try any of those things, you should do that. Also, when you're working on new subjects and you're learning different things within the domain of art, you can obviously apply those fundamentals. So you're still going to be improving and building those skills, but it just allows you to get a lot of that excitement and joy from it. So I guarantee if you guys apply these 3 tips, you will stay consistent. You will get the long-term results that you're looking for. And if you guys have any other video suggestions for me, just let me know. If you guys want me to go more in depth, like I said, in those fundamentals, or just any other video suggestions, let me know. And thanks for watching.